Hello, my name's Gregory and I'm from Open Barbers, and I am going to make a hairdressing tutorial on how to cut already short hair just a little bit shorter using kitchen scissors. So I have my wonderful model here, Ursula, whose hair has just got a little bit long now, so we just want to trim it back. So the first thing that I'm going to do, the hair's been nice and freshly washed and has no product in it, so that makes it easier to work with. And the first thing that I'm going to do is comb all the hair into a very unflattering combed down style. But what that means is that you're just getting rid of any kind of knots in the hair, and you're just kind of checking the hair to see how it lies. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is slide my scissors underneath a section of hair and lift it up so it's about 90 degrees out from the person's head. And I'm just going to snip the ends like that. Okay. Then I'm going to do the same thing. So keeping the scissors closed, you can gently sort of slide them underneath a section of hair, and you're aiming to get a thin section just a little bit below the one that you've just done. Lift it right out from the head and snip. And just keep doing that all the way down to the bottom. Okay, so all I've done so far is just trim a little bit off the ends in horizontal rows all the way down the middle from top to bottom. Now what I can do to see whether or not I've left any sort of like ridges in the hair, I can now try and go at a different angle. So usually you would try and, if you started off by cutting in horizontal sections, then you can try and check it to see if it's neat by like doing vertical sections. So this I might need to use my fingers. So here I can just see a couple of little bumps. So it's not as much of a straight line and neat line as I would like it to be. So if I hold that hair in my fingers like that, I can just try and snip off the bumpy bits. Okay, so now we're going to move it around to the side of the head and do the same sorts of things we've done in the back. So I usually find it easier, as I said at the beginning, to start at the top and work my way down. So I use my scissors to sort of slip under the hair, closed, so they're not going to stab someone in the head. Lift up the hair and just snip. And then I try and just shuffle down a tiny little layer of hair, raise it up and snip. Okay, so now I'm going to check and see how bumpy that is by going vertical. So now I've just trimmed the sides, and what I'm going to need is my client to give me a little bit of help to get around the ear to make the ears nice and tidy. So yeah, if you bend your ear down for me and just hold it in place. Thank you. And now I'm going to ask Ursula to let go of her ear and then pull your ear backwards a little bit for me so that I've got both of my hands free. Time to bring in the nail scissors. Takes a while. So now I'm going to cut the hairline at the back and make it nice and neat. So some people like a very sharp hairline, in which case all you would need to do is comb the hair down and cut straight across, and it would make quite a sharp finish across the back. But if we do that thing where we lift the hair up ever so slightly, that will make it slightly softer. So we're going to do that. So just scoop the comb under and lift it up ever so slightly. And then if there's some hairs that are sitting way below, you can just try and trim those bits off. And that way you've got a neat but soft hairline finish. If you're struggling to get some of these sort of, if it still feels a bit clunky and you're struggling to get that out, what you could try and do is what hairdressers would call scissor over comb, and you can just try and lift up the hair with your comb and just see if you can spot any bumpy bits. And if you do, you can just snip those off as you go up. And that doing that all over should just help even out and make it all a bit softer and a bit neater and not leave too many hard ridges in the hair. Okay, great, welcome back. I have cut the other side of Ursula's hair. So here we are, just holding. So there we go, I've just done the same as what I did on the other side, but on this side, and just went around the edges. So now we have a pretty much symmetrical haircut on the back and sides. So now I'm just going to spend a little bit of time trimming the top. So let me pop my spatula camera back in position. Okay, so to cut the top, I'm going to use a technique that hairdressers would call point cutting, which basically involves snipping in a downwards direction towards the head. Sounds a bit scary, but I'll show you. So what I'd like to do is work in little horizontal sections from the back all the way through to the front. So I'm going to start around the crown area. So this bit here, where their hair sort of spirals, that's the crown. And crowns can be quite pesky sometimes. Sometimes if they go too short, then they go really springy, but they always dictate how the hair grows, and what direction it flows in. So sometimes you need to be extra careful with crowns so that you pay attention to what they're trying to tell you. It's hard to make hair go in a different direction to how the crown wants it to go. So what I'm doing is taking a little section of hair like this, I'm lifting it up and holding it so that there's still quite a lot of hair flowing out from my fingers, because I don't want to cut my fingers. And then I'm going to snip downwards towards the hair in a very pointy direction. So I'm very deliberately cutting off sort of bits of hair, but not in a very blunt way. And that means that when the hair lies, it won't have any heavy edges in it. Okay, so I'm going to use that same technique all the way through to the front of the head. Another technique that you can use is taking a section of this hair, working your way methodically through the hair. Take a section like this, twist it, and then do a tiny little snip into it, then a bit higher up, and then another one on towards the end. And what that will do is, while the hair is in a bit of a twist, it will cut random lengths shorter and longer, which means that when you let go of that twist, it will settle in a kind of dispersed way. So I'm just going to show you that again. Raise up a section of hair, twist it around your finger into a little twist, snip once at the bottom, once in the middle, maybe a bit higher up in the middle, and then at the end. And when you let go of that hair, all those shorter and longer lengths will disperse throughout the hair. So that's quite a nice way of thinning the hair out, as well as making a nice textured finish on the top. Okay, so that's us cutting the top using point cutting techniques, and I don't know what it's called, twist and snip techniques. There we go, just made that up. Now we're just going to have a look at how to deal with the fringe. So would you be able to hold the camera for me? Thank you. So we have already cut some of this front section by lifting it up, but what we might want to do now is just see how well that falls, and if it falls in like a messy way on the front. So we can go back to our point cutting method, where we bring the hair forward, make sure we keep it, use your hand to help protect your lovely person's face, and then just snip into the hair. So you're making it soft, but still at the same time a little bit shorter and a bit more even. Okay, so there we go. We have now done an all-over scissors trim, just taking off a little bit of length from an already fairly short haircut. There we go. I hope that was a helpful tutorial on how to gently trim hair using kitchen scissors. And if you need any assistance at all, feel free to get in touch by email at openbarbers@gmail.com. Okay, thanks. Bye.